Yes, it is morning. It's 9 o'clock my time. I'm going to play a little song while we're waiting for anybody who's going to join to come join. Say hey in the chat. Let me know if you're okay with me hitting the chat replay, the live chat replay. We talk about some personal stuff, so if you guys don't want that chat to be replayed for people, just say don't replay it, please, because I want to be able to have open talks here. So play a little song.
Oh, you know this like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Oh, you go this like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. So bleed me of all my self-belief. My smile shows all my insecurity. In a kingdom of photoshopped kings and queens will never feel happy with ourselves, but insecurity sells. Dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Oh, you build us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. I hide my head under the sheets, 'cause how can I face a world that ridicules the weak? Where beauty is sold on the shelves, forbid that we find it in ourselves. And now I'm broke, it don't come cheap. Oh, you build us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Oh, you build us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Araya was the most beautiful girl in this world. She shined like diamonds and rubies and pearls. But then, as soon as she turned 13, she forgot just how bright that it was that she gleamed. Stuck in the material world of magazines that glamorized fake and Photoshop beauty queens. Top 10 beauty tips making her feel inadequate. For the first time in her life, she felt ugly. So Araya stopped eating to lose weight. She spent her dinner money on some makeup for her face. But no matter how much she lost or how much she bought, she was never good enough, or so she thought. Araya felt she could never be loved. She started cutting her wrists and hiding her scars with gloves. At 16, an anorexic beauty queen, she collapses in a puddle of her tears and blood, 'cause she never felt enough. She never felt enough. You sell us all this lie that we must buy to keep in touch. We can never buy enough, never buy enough. All the riches in the world come by a sense of self-love. Funny how you act surprised when depression's levels rise, when you force feed inadequacy straight into our eyes. Television shows that praise the beautiful people, and talent competitions that just laugh at the feeble. Billboards, magazines, people turn to plasticine, molded like a factory. But growing up to fear, feeling ugly, it's lunacy. And life in the community is insecurity breeds judgment, judgment breeds hate, no unity. And hierarchy based upon aesthetics is what makes the kid in school get bullied for genetics. And I felt so ugly growing up. The way that I look sometimes got me beaten up. I mean, what the fuck sort of culture do we live in, when we're defined by the shape of our face, when we're ashamed by the size of our waist, when we're imprisoned by the form that we take? And so we keep buying and spending. That's just how this story goes. You build us up just to knock us back down, and we just keep falling like dominoes.
And I just can't handle it ending like that, so I'm going to go back to the beginning and let it play back for a few seconds, because I love that hook. And then we'll start chatting. Oh, you build us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Oh, you build us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling.
shows all my insecurity.
Alrighty. Good morning, guys, ladies, gals, lasses. We don't have any lads, do we? Alright. Good morning. I'm so glad to see the same names in the chat this morning. So fun. And yeah, you're so right, Nikki. That should be a song that they show in school and have like social interactions, discussion, and just healthy self-image. Like, I don't even know what course you would put that in, a psychology or maybe sociology or something like that. 100%. Oh, I'm sorry, Marianne. That stinks. Well, we're at 9 o'clock in the morning here, and so while it's your afternoon and you've already had a day, we're just getting going. And just before we get started, right now I'm in Amarillo, Texas. We're parked in an RV park overnight en route to New Mexico. We'll be in the mountains in New Mexico this afternoon, but right now we're hanging out in Amarillo, Texas. Chris is outside farting around with his fishing stuff. Let's see. So I want to go from like where we left off last week, which was I was talking about coming to accept. It's probably sitting right outside of the RV park that I'm at, because I'm at the Big Texan RV park if you totaled a car, because they have all those cars that are sticking straight up out of the ground and you can spray paint them. And there's, I don't know, a dozen or so cars. Man, I can't read with my glasses on or off. But there's a dozen or so of those cars that are sticking from the trunk, standing straight up in the air, and people go and spray paint and stuff. And last night Chris and I were like, do we need to go over there and do some spray painting? And I was just like, I'm going to bed. I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna chill and go to bed. And we left Missouri yesterday morning, and we went from Joplin, Missouri to now we're in Amarillo, and we left right at 10 in the morning, and we got here around 7 last night. And I don't do anything. I just sit back and try to be in the most comfortable position, whether that's in the passenger seat or in my recliner or whatever. And it's just so hard on me. It's such an annoying thing. But this morning we're doing all right. Here we are. And we have, I think, 250 or 300 miles to our final destination. I look so forward to that. The mountains in New Mexico are beautiful. All right, so last week I was talking about coming to a place of acceptance of change and limitations, and just, if you are a person like, so I know Brandy and Marianne in particular, coming to the place of acceptance of like, how do you come to that place of acceptance? Because for me, I know I struggled hardcore, and I still do, but I have some resources that I was just going to throw out some of the things that I do, and then we can talk about, like, if you guys have other things that have worked for you to, not really embrace, and not even truly to accept, but at least to adapt to changes. And one of the things that I have that I really enjoy, and there's been mixed reviews on this particular book, it's by Jennifer Ray, and I realize this is backwards, but A Year of Mindfulness. So it's called A Year of Mindfulness, and it's by Jennifer Ray, and on Amazon it's literally $8.78. But what it is it's like a 52-week or daily, however, if you want to do it by week or if you want to do small things daily, just kind of a guide to, there's 4 different main sections. It's called Center Your Body, Explore Your Mind, Take Care, and then Celebrate and Appreciate. And so per month it covers 1 week of each of those. So 1 week of centering your body, 1 week of exploring your mind, 1 week of taking care, and then 1 week of celebrate and appreciate. And so they have she has this set up where in that week of Center Your Body, there's 7 activities. So you can do either in one shot, you can do the 7 short activities, or you can do little things day by day. And lost my keys. That's a heavy thing, and hopefully just being here, chatting, and hearing us talk and engage will help lift you up a little bit. I can't fix problems. I can't fix anybody's problems, but we can hopefully give some tools for how to deal with things. But anyway, so like this first, the first week of the book on Center Your Body, again, she breaks it down into 7 different things. So you can do it one thing a day at a time. Or again, you can do them all 7 at once because they're just short. Like for the first one is find a seat and relax. Breathe slowly through your nose. As you inhale and exhale, notice how the breath affects your body. Feel your body expand and contract. So she tells you to do that command, and then it says, where do you feel the breath? And then you can write in your thoughts where you're feeling it, but it makes you focus. It just focuses you, and that can be your only thing for the day. Or you can move on to the next thing. So, but that's week 1, the number 1 on week 1. Anyway, it makes it very digestible. And one of the things with, if you have a chronic illness or any kind of chronic condition, or if you're taking care of someone with a chronic condition and you need to take better care of your mental health, this year of mindfulness, again, it's by Jennifer Ray, $8.78 on Amazon in the US. The digestibility of it, again, it takes, some of the things she says sets the timer for 10 minutes. So it may take you 10 minutes to do the timer 10-minute thing, and then maybe 5 minutes for reflection. But what it's doing is it's just retraining your brain to be more mindful of yourself. And sometimes the things around you, if it's a beautiful thing, to be more mindful of your surroundings, but just to bring you back to center. And I just love that. And like I said, the book has kind of got mixed reviews, but I like the small chunks that she takes you on through the year. Because if one thing that's hard to do as a person with a chronic disease is to set a goal and keep that goal. Make plans and keep the plans. That's a really hard thing to do, which in and of itself can be very frustrating. And I think I had said this before, one of my biggest advices to patients when they would come in seeking weight loss would be like, if you're going to start an exercise program, set reasonable goals. Because if you set something that's unreasonable, like in the first 2 weeks, if you want to ride a stationary bike for 15 minutes, that might be, 15 minutes may not seem like very long, but it might be unachievable if you're starting from 0. Try 5 minutes, go for 5 minutes for the first week, and then maybe the second week you can maybe go to 8-10 minutes, but exactly, do baby steps, make it achievable so that you don't get frustrated and quit. Because I think that's probably the biggest problem for people like myself. I am, again, like a type A personality. If I set a lofty goal and if I don't reach it, then I'm like, well, that didn't work out. Now I guess I may as well quit. Because I get frustrated, but yeah. Yeah, exactly, Brandy. The breathing exercises and simple things that just, again, kind of retrain your brain to focus on the self. And if the mind becomes more aware of the self, then you can listen to your body and make adjustments easier as well. And that may sound a little hokey or whatever, but it's true. It's so true. Ashley, hello. So real quick, who is in the chat, anyone have any objection? If there's one person that says, no, please don't replay the live chat, then I won't. But last week, I just, I wanted us to be able to have the open dialogue, talk about whatever, and you guys put in your personal stories and kind of guide the conversation. But if you would prefer that I not play the live chat in replay so that you can guard your story, and that, because that's not my business to put your business out there. So if you want me to keep the live chat off from replaying when the video saves up to YouTube, just say no. And if I get one person who says no to not replay it, then I won't. All right, so does anyone have a book or some kind of a, maybe not even a book, a self-help, not really a brochure or pamphlet, but a website or any type of a tool or guide that you go by that helps you to just digest your days, particularly bad days? If you're having a bad day, what do you turn to help put you in a better frame of mind? Again, not only with this book from Jennifer Ray, A Year of Mindfulness, but mine is, I go to my daily Bible devotions. And I don't do my daily Bible devotions daily, but they are something that's important to me. Okay, Nikki. But like, never mind that. I have this daily devotion right now that I'm doing that's pearls of great price. Pearls of great price. And this is from a lady that is paraplegic. I don't think she's quadriplegic. I think she's paraplegic. But she has some very insightful messages and is clearly knowledgeable in the Bible in general. And she has some very useful, because talk about limitations, I mean, she has to rely on others for the majority of her care. So I'm gonna have to get out Google Marianne. Okay. So it's like yoga but different. And Qigong. And is that something, Marianne, do you do that like in your home, or do you have to go somewhere and have an instructor do that, or do you do that yourself? Like by an internet guide or something? I love that. Mindfulness with movement. I love that. Yeah. Good morning, Heather Nicole. Proceed with what you want to do. Yeah. So, Brandy, yes. So stop what you're doing, pause, take a few breaths, observe how your body feels, and proceed with what you want to do. Yeah, I love that. Actually, I'm gonna write that down. Okay. Sorry about that. So again, in going back to kind of the accepting new limitations, and so there's a couple people that hadn't been here before. I don't remember seeing Heather, and don't remember seeing Ashley, but and if you don't want to share, that's fine, but we just kind of talked about if the people in the chat are those who might have a chronic illness or taking care of someone with a chronic illness. And Lou was in last week, but hopefully we'll see. I don't remember if she said she can't make it this week into the live stream, but she was one of the ones who is taking care of an ill family member, which is just as relevant because, you know, again, Chris, if I want to drag him in for talking about anything that might be relevant to the conversations, Chris is my caregiver. I mean, he understands that he himself has been given new limitations because, okay, I love that. Ren-centric, I love that. Because I will, like, I've gotten to where I'm not too afraid to be like, babe, I just need you to be home. We need to come off the water. I need you to come home. Or I need you to stop doing this, helping friends do this thing, or, you know, whatever it is that he may be out doing. And so therefore it puts really big limitations on his life and his schedule. And I try not to be too demanding and annoying, but I love that. So I wonder, because I am in Ren's rabbit hole on Facebook, are you guys somewhere else? Do I need to get onto a different place on Facebook, or are you in Ren's rabbit hole? I just don't remember. I have such, my memory is so crummy. So the post from Christian that, yes, absolutely. And one of the, like I said, was saying a little bit ago, one of the biggest things that I draw my getting back to center from is from daily devotionals and Bible readings. But okay, so we got the little Ren group, and then we have our the people with chronic conditions, and I love that. Have you guys ever met in person? How funny would that be? Or are you from different parts of the world where you wouldn't be able to run into each other in person? That's pretty cute. Not yet. That would be so fun. That would be fun. And so I don't remember, Nikki, are you in the UK? Or are you in the United States? I don't remember. All right. So there's a list of things, like with when it comes to Ren and the way he has handled his illness and his going back to music, and then the challenges that he's faced in going back into music. And then, like the other day, what was it, yesterday, where they posted that he wasn't able to perform. He was going to be he was, I think, going to plan to perform, and then they at the last minute kind of told him that it was against medical advice for him to do that. So he's clearly still struggling. And my comment, this was in one of the Facebook groups. My comment to that was, you know, what people in general, public, aren't going to really fully understand is that in his situation, when he's got something planned and scheduled, you know, it was like we talked about last week. You have to plan for a plan. So he would have been planning several days. Hey, I'm in Amarillo, Brandy. He would have had to have been planned several days ahead of time to do one performance. And do you guys care to tell me where in Texas that you are? It doesn't have to be the exact town, but maybe you can tell me like a section of Texas, the panhandle part. Oh, nice. We're getting ready to leave Amarillo, and we're going to be going through Hereford and wherever on our way to Roswell, and then over from Roswell to Ruidoso, New Mexico. And don't know if you guys remember the big wildfires in Ruidoso, New Mexico last year. So we're heading there. We were supposed to head there last year. The day before we left was when the fires broke out, and my parents were actually already there in the RV park, and they had to evacuate. So they're there now, and so that's where we're headed. And we'll be seeing it for the first time. We'll be checking out if they're, like for instance, my parents had built a house in the mountains there, and we're going to go see for ourselves if it got burnt down or if it's still standing. Because I don't think the parents have gone, right? They said they weren't going to go. The parents said they weren't going to go check out to see if the house was still standing. Hi. Are you sniffing the camera like a wild animal? What are you doing?
What are you guys doing?
Goofball.
How many you got watching? That's a lot.
That's an impressive amount. Don't try to outstage me. Get out. Anyway, yeah, so we're gonna take the drive to where the house was built and see if it's there's hi Chris's, and there's a boy. Because there was a Samuel.
They're over.
There was a Samuel in the chat, but it was what Samuel put on there was are you ready for a Lamar Jackson edit? Like,
Boys gone. Whoa, whoa.
I think we are ready for a Lamar Jackson edit.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about coming to a place of acceptance of new limitations and how when you have chronic stuff, how that affects you. Because Ren was supposed to have done a performance, I think, yesterday. I don't know where he is, if he's in Brighton. Guys, if you know if he's in Brighton. You can read some of the chat as it
Actually,
comes
my
up.
glasses are still transitioning away
Yeah.
from sunglasses, so I can't see anything.
But
Hi,
anyway-
everybody.
But anyway, he was given the medical advice to not perform. So whatever it was that he was going to do, he ended up not doing it. But he was there, I think, maybe, because there was a clip of him doing a pole dance type of a thing.
I'd like to see that.
He was in a room with swinging around a pole, and so yeah, he's in Brighton. Okay, but so because there were some people who were a little showing some frustration, and I'm like, he's gonna forever be in a situation where he's gonna have to accept the limitations that his health gives him, and we as well are gonna have to accept those limitations. And I think anybody who is a supporter of Ren, a true supporter, will gladly give him whatever time he needs to take care of himself medically, mentally, whatever that looks like. And I love in his new song that I've been talking to my therapist lately, and boy, I can't remember the lyrics word for word, but then talking about opening up a little bit more about his relationship that he had with his dad, the dad dynamics, and how that upended their life, which was a first that I had heard that much information.
This isn't good. The people have gone down since I've been on the camera.
Baby, you son of a... First of all, don't look at numbers. Why would you ever look at numbers? Yeah, the
do you have your
token.
brightness up here?
I have it down for glare on the glasses. The token song. Yeah, that one. It is the only time. So like in the song Power, he had just said the parents were fighting and hearing the fights through the walls or whatever, and then went on a trip, shalom, and then the relationship was over. But that was really it. And then in this song, because I know in like a couple of interviews that I watched with him, he wasn't going to talk about. It's like people knew, don't ask him dad questions, you know, because that's off limits or whatever. So to hear that in this new song was a baby step for him, I feel like.
Do we know where everybody's from? Is everybody putting where they're from in here?
Yeah, you can go back if you want to scroll back and read through the chat. There's anyway, you can scroll through that.
Yeah. Well, everybody's getting out since I'm here, so let's let the Gretch do it.
Well, Brandy said, seriously, glad to see you, Chris.
Back on the water soon.
He will be back on the water soon. Once we get into Ruidoso, he'll be on a lake there, and I have assignments already ready for him. So he's going to be making some videos, and we'll be posting those hopefully within the week.
Soon.
All right, babe. Love you. So yeah, we'll be getting to see some really pretty reaction videos from the lake in the mountains shortly. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I think I signed that petition, and you're talking about the UMG petition, right? That's at 2287. I think I signed it when there were still just a few hundred, like, I don't know, 300 or 400 or something like that. So that's incredible. It always seems like those things are so slow going, but anyway, so whenever, going back to the, you know, the limitations that we have, and again, in relating this to not just myself, but to Marianne or Brandy, or if you want to think about Ren's situation, I mean, we're all in the same cooking pot. We all got the same heat under us. But just being able to, not only that, but if you are a friend to someone who has an illness that, like for instance, Chris has a family member that had been sick and dealing with something for a while, and just was not getting diagnosed in a timely manner, and was absolutely miserable. And they finally got the diagnosis and got the treatment, and it took a while, and there were some invasive treatments that had to be done to treat the condition, but now is in a position where I think that they said the other day that it's basically in remission. But in that time frame when there was no diagnosis and no and Ashley, it was so good for you to join us, and I hope you have a wonderful day. With the transition from getting these problems starting to then having a diagnosis and getting treated, it's really a matter of how do you cope with what you're dealing with before you're fixed, like while the symptoms are in action. So like during a lupus flare, during a flare of MS, if you have any kind of lingering effects from a chronic illness like what, you know, Ren's dealing with, just recurring neurological and physical repercussions from his long-term untreated disease, how do you deal with that. And so here's some points that I want to make. And so first of all, one of the biggest things, the hardest things, is to accept help. Me being a care provider, I don't really care for being a care receiver, but I have had to learn to accept help. And I had one of Chris's aunts recently tell me that, yeah, if you guys gotta go, thank you so much for joining in. This won't be a very long of a live chat. It's gonna be wrapping up in about 10 minutes probably, because we gotta hit the road. But thank you for stopping in, anybody that's gotta get out. So the accepting help, his aunt recently said to me, because I've had to have someone with me a lot of the times because of my recent neurological things that have happened. I can't be alone very much. And so she said, I know it's hard for you to accept help from anyone, especially outside of like my own parents or Chris or the kids. And she said, but you're giving us a gift by allowing us to help, because we need to feel like we're helping. So that's a really hard thing, you know, for myself, and I'm sure if you guys have any situation like that, that it's sometimes really hard for a person that you know who you want to help them. It's hard for them to accept that help, and I don't know how you graciously make that transition, but I thought that was the way she said it was wonderful. It was like, I know you don't want to accept help, but you're actually doing something really beautiful for me by allowing me to help you. And I don't want you to feel bad about that, because what it does is it actually helps me a lot. And so hopefully if you're in that situation where you have a family member or a friend who you know could use your help and you can provide the help, then that might be a way to get them to be like, okay, yes, I get it. I'll take the help from you. And it took a long time for me to be able to accept that I have these limitations now and I can't do everything, and it's hard for me to let Chris do a lot of stuff. Well, look, I mean, I still don't really like him cleaning the shower because he doesn't clean the shower like I clean the shower. So I'll probably never be okay with letting that go. But you know what I mean? Like if I can take a day and clean the shower in little bits and pieces, like clean one panel at a time, or clean, you know, just spray it and then go back to it. Take an all day thing. I don't know. I'm sure there's some boys out there that'll clean the way us girls do, but especially moms. Like, you know, I'm already, like I've said 1,000 times, I'm already a type A personality, but then you throw in being a mom and having my own routine that I do in my way, forget about it. Like, I appreciate, if it's really bad, I'll let him. Like, he'll be like, babe, just let me clean the shower, and I'll just be like, fine, yes, just do it your way. Hola, ¿cómo está, Ricardo? So then another thing that, and that point, to build on that point, is to then be grateful. Like, expressing your gratefulness to the people who are trying to help you. And that's, I think, really important, because in order to keep relationships healthy when you are the unhealthy one, in order to keep relationships healthy, I think showing gratitude is one of the best ways to keep a relationship healthy. Because one of the biggest things I think that is the challenge is keeping your own mindset healthy. Because, I mean, pity party city, you talk about, I mean, just not wanting to get out of bed, not only physically, but mentally, just not wanting to, because I don't want to go sit in the living room because I know it's going to make me uncomfortable, and, you know, I'm going to have to deal with more pain if I go out and, you know, sit in the recliner versus laying in bed all day. But then that's not really good for your mentality. It's not good for your relationships. So there's a fine balance to find there. But when I am with Chris, I just try to remind him as often as possible how grateful that I am for him and for his sacrifice that he, and the things that he does. Like, he does the dishes most of the time. He cooks a majority of the time. You know, he does so much. And if I do allow him to clean the shower, I be sure to thank him, even though I look at it later and I'm like, I'm gonna have to go in and spot clean that some more. But you know, just keeping the relationships as healthy as possible, because it's so easy to be stuck in a pity party where you don't appreciate where you are yourself, and so it's hard for you to show appreciation to others around you. And so hopefully just with some kind words. Yeah, Marianne, that is absolutely spot on. And I'm so glad that you're here, by the way, Brandy. Thank you for what you did yesterday and still to be here with us this morning. I appreciate that so much, because I know what that feels like. Like, you could have slept another hour or two or whatever, however long. And so for you to be here, I appreciate that so much. But yeah, finding new ways of doing things and new hobbies, yeah, that's the deal. Like, I'm still trying to figure out, since I can't read. I love James Patterson's books. Like, I have all of the Alex Cross series. And before my brain became affected because of the long-term effect of lupus, I read through those. Like, each year we got into Arizona, I would start over on reading that series, and I can't read like that anymore. Like, I can hardly get through a few pages of a book at a time, and I guess that's okay. But when I'm used to being able to read through a full book in like 2 days, that's frustrating. You only be able to read a few pages. I haven't overcome that yet, so I haven't gotten back into reading the James Patterson series yet, but now it's been long enough that they're going to feel like new books to me. So then we go to accepting help, being grateful, showing gratitude, and then we talked about setting realistic goals. And then we talked about the mindfulness and the relaxation, which, again, if you're, for just a quick reminder, and sorry this is backwards, but I love this little thing because it's just so digestible and easy. A year of mindfulness, and no, I don't get any kind of kickback. I just like it because it is small doses. You can do it daily, tiny amount of time, 15-20 minutes max. Or you can do it weekly and spend, 1 day a week and spend an hour. But the way she approaches it is, and her guidance and the way that she does it is very user-friendly for a chronically ill person in particular. So the mindfulness and relaxation, and then I think I probably say this too much too, but just showing yourself some grace. Having some compassion for yourself and showing yourself a little bit of grace. Like, I get really frustrated when, like, if the floor, I don't like a dirty floor. I don't like walking on stuff that crunches under my feet, and living in an RV, traipsing in and out with Chris, especially if Chris is doing his fishing stuff and he's coming in and out and tracking in. I do not like dirty floors. So a lot of times I'm wearing these thick fuzzy socks, but then I just am limited in how often I can actually clean my floor. And all it is just this little bitty RV space. As a matter of fact, let's just take a little look. Like, this is what I got from just like, that's my amount of floor. It's not like a lot. And then I have this door behind me closed because it goes to the bedroom, but like, there's hardly any floor there to clean. But sometimes it's just, even that little bit is just too much. And the dry Swiffer, the wet Swiffer is a godsend. And anyway, so yeah, accepting where you are at the time. I think you basically had that same kind of plan to change plans, that kind of comment, and then accepting where you are in the moment. Marianne, you're very wise. So, but anyway, again, just showing ourselves some grace, and then to look at that from the other side. If you are someone who is, it's a family member or a loved one, friend who might need a little help, that you might recognize they need a little help, again, it would be beneficial for them to show some grace for themselves as well. And that, I don't know how you get across to that person, but everybody needs a little help when it comes to the mentality of dealing with chronic illness. And again, whether it's yourself or if you're trying to assist with someone else, those areas, I mean, that's how you keep a relationship healthy. You got to keep a relationship going. You got to keep your relationships healthy, because it's paramount, particularly for a person who is dealing with a chronic illness. I mean, you have to somehow bridge the gaps and water those gardens, keep the weeds out of that garden, the relationship garden. And that, again, that just goes right back to the what does your love look like? Ren's lyrics and what does your love look like? That you don't want to let the weeds grow. You want to pluck those babies out, and you want to keep the relationships healthy. And again, I mean, that's kind of the purpose of doing this, is to try to bring together more and more people. And I'm so appreciative of you guys being here this morning. And hopefully we'll continue to build on this week after week. And even though I love this small amount because it's digestible for me in the chat section, and I don't feel overwhelmed, and I appreciate that so much. But so those are the main points that I wanted to kind of talk about this week, and I think we covered those main points. And we're probably going to be getting on the road here shortly, heading down to Ruidoso, New Mexico, and I'll probably post a couple of videos of, I don't know, maybe some of the things that we see in Ruidoso that impact us in a way because of the fires, because of the wildfires. Again, my parents' house, we don't think it's there anymore. And they built that house. That was my dad's. That was my dad's baby, and we're pretty sure it's gone. But they don't have the heart to drive over to their old mountain ridge to see if the house is indeed gone. But when we get there, we'll go check it out, and we might post a video about what we're seeing. Anyway, and so next week I think we're gonna go to actually, who had mentioned it? Marianne, maybe, about new hobbies, new ways of doing things and new hobbies. Next week is going to be kind of expanding on ideas and suggestions for how to yourself do modified activities, or if you have someone that that is in, like, my situation. The hardest thing to do with someone like myself is to present an idea in a way that doesn't offend the other person. The best thing that you can do is to be thoughtful and mindful about your wording, because you may have a great idea and it may be something that this person needs to adopt and adapt into their daily routine. But if it's approached in a way that seems offensive or aggressive, or I don't know, just, we're real sensitive. We can be a real sensitive species. And so how do you make suggestions to people where they will be accepting of it, and then actually adopt it because you know that you're right and the idea is a good one and that they should do it. But if you come in blazing saying, you know what you really should do, or you know you really need to be doing this, that probably isn't going to be received very well. And I can tell you that for a fact because Chris says that to me all the time. And when he says that to me, I always give him a look. And then he's like, I get it. All right, I'll stop saying it that way. Anyway, all right, everybody. We're going to sign off and get the heck back on the road. And so hit the like button if you haven't already. Thank you if you have. And I'm going to go ahead and keep the live chat on replay if that's okay with everybody. And yes, no two are the same, absolutely. I will put the chat, I'll let the chat hold on replay on the video so when people see it later, they can see our chat. And yeah, everybody have a great day. Smile. Yeah. Nikki, 100%. It's overwhelming is a good word. That is a good word. Everybody have a great day. Smile and make somebody else's day a little bit brighter. And I'm signing off. Love you guys. Everybody take care. See you next week.